When I think about Lila and me growing up, it's hard not to smile. We were always together, a perfect duo in every sense. I was the introvert, the quiet one, and she was the outgoing extrovert who had no problem making friends and diving headfirst into whatever adventure life threw at her. But somehow we fit. We balanced each other out like puzzle pieces, and together we had the world at our feet. But college changed everything. It felt like we went off to two completely different worlds, and that subtle shift became a chasm between us. Lila, always the social butterfly, flitted from one event to the next, making friends wherever she went. She joined clubs, volunteered, and eventually secured an internship with a top PR firm. She was doing everything right, and I was so proud of her. But at the same time, I felt like I was sinking. I had chosen to go to a small university, one that felt safer, but I quickly realized that small meant isolated. I buried myself in books, endless textbooks for my psychology major. My dorm room became my sanctuary, and yet it felt like a prison. I avoided large groups, too shy to even consider joining any of the extracurriculars that would have brought me out of my shell. The loneliness that I tried so hard to ignore began creeping in, and to cope, I turned to food. Late-night study snacks, cafeteria meals, candy from the vending machine. It was my comfort, and I didn't even realize how much weight I was gaining until I saw a picture of myself on social media. That reflection, the one staring back at me from my phone, was unrecognizable. My face was rounder, my clothes fit tighter, and I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt confident or happy in my own skin. When I came home for the holidays, Lila was still her beautiful, energetic self, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. We didn't talk about the weight gain, neither of us did, but I could tell she was concerned. I tried to pretend everything was okay, but inside I felt like I was crumbling. Graduating from college was supposed to feel like an accomplishment, but for me, it felt more like the end of a chapter I hadn't even started. Lila and I both moved back home after graduation. She had a shiny new degree, but no clear direction. I was working a low-paying job as a caseworker, just trying to make ends meet. Lila and I would often share our frustrations over dinner, but it was always the same conversation. She felt stuck, bouncing between temp jobs and internships, unsure of what she really wanted to do. I felt lost too, like I had nothing to show for 4 years of hard work. Instead of focusing on our futures, we seemed to be sinking deeper into the same habits that had gotten us here in the first place. Late nights, takeout, binge-watching TV shows we didn't care about, and ignoring our problems. Our weight continued to climb, and our energy continued to plummet. We were both exhausted all the time, physically and emotionally drained. We knew we needed change, but every time we tried to do something about it, it felt like the weight of the world was holding us back. Then one evening, something shifted. I was scrolling through Instagram, mindlessly flicking through photos of old classmates. So many of them had seemingly figured it all out. They were traveling the world, looking fit and healthy, sharing their accomplishments, their success. And there we were, still stuck. Lila noticed my expression and turned to me, her voice low and quiet. "Do you ever feel like we've lost ourselves?" I wasn't prepared for her to say it out loud, but the moment the words left her mouth, I felt my chest tighten. "Yeah," I admitted, my voice cracking. "I do." Lila looked away, her eyes filled with a mixture of frustration and sadness. "I don't know who I am anymore, Haley. I really don't." I swallowed the lump in my throat, unsure of what to say. Neither of us had the answers. We both felt like we were drowning, but neither of us knew how to reach the surface. That summer, our mom insisted we attend a family barbecue, one of those events that always made us feel more uncomfortable than we ever wanted to admit. We had no desire to face the probing questions from relatives about what we were doing with our lives, or the subtle judgment about our appearances. But Mom was relentless, and in the end, we gave in. At the barbecue, we reconnected with some family members we hadn't seen in years, including Maria, a cousin who was always the picture of grace and confidence. Maria had always been one of those women who seemed to have everything figured out. But when we saw her at the barbecue, something was different. She had a new energy about her, a sparkle that hadn't been there before. Lila, always the first to speak her mind, couldn't help herself. "Maria, you look incredible. What happened?" Maria smiled, but there was a softness in her eyes. "Well, I wasn't always like this," she said, laughing lightly. "A couple of years ago, I was struggling just like you two. I was gaining weight, feeling sluggish, and I couldn't seem to get my energy back. Then I discovered something that changed everything. She pulled out a small bottle from her purse. It's called Live Pure. It's a supplement that helps your liver function better, which in turn helps your metabolism and energy levels. It made such a huge difference for me. I started feeling like myself again, and the weight just came off. We listened, intrigued. Maria shared how Live Pure had reset her body, helping her detoxify and get rid of the excess weight she'd been struggling with. I could tell she was passionate about it, but it was the way she described feeling alive again that really stuck with me. That night, after the barbecue, Lila and I couldn't stop talking about Maria's transformation. We Googled Live Pure, reading everything we could about the science behind it. Live Pure was formulated to support liver health, and we knew that a healthy liver was essential for detoxification and fat metabolism. The more we read, the more it made sense. I remember Lila turning to me as we sat on the couch, scrolling through our phones. "What do we have to lose?" she asked, a spark of hope in her eyes. "Let's give it a try." We both ordered our first bottles of Live Pure that night. It was the first step towards something, anything, that could help us feel like ourselves again. Live Pure is linked down in the description. Go buy some for yourself. The first few weeks were subtle. At first, I just noticed I wasn't as tired in the afternoons, and I was craving healthier food options instead of junk. By the second month, I realized I was dropping weight. It wasn't just the pounds that were coming off, it was the fog that had surrounded me for so long. I felt more focused, more alert, and more me. Lila too started seeing the benefits. She was losing weight, feeling more energetic, and finally focusing on her photography again. I started walking with her, taking time for ourselves, doing something active for the first time in ages. We began cooking healthy meals together, laughing and reconnecting with each other in a way we hadn't in years. One evening, after a long walk around our neighborhood, Lila turned to me, her face glowing in the soft light of the setting sun. "You know, Haley," she said softly, "I feel like we're finally coming back to life." I looked at her, and for the first time in so long, I smiled without hesitation. "Me too," I said. 6 months later, I stood in front of the mirror, looking at the woman staring back at me. I had lost 40 pounds, but more than that, I felt powerful again. My energy levels had soared, and I no longer felt trapped by my insecurities. I felt confident, focused, and hopeful. Lila had lost 30 pounds, and she was thriving in a way I hadn't seen in years. We were closer than ever, our bond stronger than ever before. Together, we had rediscovered the versions of ourselves we thought we'd lost. Live Pure wasn't just a supplement for us, it was the key to unlocking a life we had been struggling to reclaim. If you're ready to take the first step in your own comeback story, Live Pure might just be the change you've been waiting for. If you're ready to unlock a better you, don't wait to start your own transformation. Click the link in the description below to get your Live Pure today and experience the energy, confidence, and focus you deserve. Make every day count as your journey starts now to peak and thrive. Don't forget to like and subscribe.